A lot of people have said to me, what do you think about these 3 days of darkness, George? I had a experience once where my kids were only young, but then I saw my kids much older, and we were looking out the window and it was dark, and it was meant to be daylight. Now, the house that I experienced that vision in, or that experience in, I no longer live there. So I kind of been thinking, maybe I'm not going to have that experience. But in the last few days, after having a look at footage of Nibiru and the way it's coming in and its path, if it does come between the Earth and the Sun, then it will block out the Sun. And that could be the cause of 3 days of darkness. Some people will say because the Earth's going to stop in its rotation and go the other way. I don't resonate with that at all. That to me is just, yeah, I don't feel it from that at all. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I absolutely do not feel that happening. If it's going to happen for me, it'll be because this object will get between the Earth and the Sun. And it's now peeped out from behind the Sun, because I've always said it's behind the Sun and we don't get to see it. And there's actual pictures that exist now of this object, and it's big. And many years ago I talked about the time of the 2 moons, where, I had this incredible connection with Mother Earth, and I went outside and I looked up the night sky and I was in a different time zone. And I remember seeing the moon, and then I remember seeing another moon next to it, and it was blood red in colour. And I spoke about this in my talks, which are on my website, and I talked about the time of the 2 moons. And this thing was a little bit bigger than we see our moon in the sky. It was bigger, and I knew that that was Nibiru, and I knew that that was much, much further out, not as close to the Earth as the moon. And because it was much, much further out, it ended up looking about roughly the same size as the moon, because it's a much bigger object and it's further out. And it needs to be a lot further out because of the gravitational interference. Oops. Sorry. The gravitational interferences with the planetary gravitational fields and its gravitational field and the gravitational field from the Sun. So what I experienced back then, I always knew would come to pass. That's why I spoke about it back then, and I haven't been speaking about it of late, in the last, say, 12 months. But now that these images have appeared, I feel it's time to start speaking about that again. Yeah, and you have the 2012 scenario happening, which created a lot of fear. So what I want to share with people is there's a lot of these TV programs that serve 2 purposes, and movies, because we're in duality, so they're serving 2 purposes. One of them is to make people aware of what's coming, and another one is to program people into fear and manipulate the mindsets of people. So I'm in a place now where I can see these movies and not get programmed. I take out of movies what I want to take, and I can see all the different levels of programming that take place in anything that I see.